Hey, 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 everybody. It's Thursday, and you know what that means? That's right. We're back. It's episode 69 of The Real Deal Pod with Allister and Geoff. It is me, Allister Carrington, your trusted realtor, alongside our mortgage guru, Geoff Lee, your trusted lender. Woo! It's a nice day. Well, I guess it's a cloudy day, but it's a cool day. It's actually not bad out there. Geoff, my man, how you doing, buddy? You getting ready for our big trip? And just so everybody knows, if you didn't hear last week, Geoff is taking me to Italy with him.
Yeah.
Or I might just be stowing away in his luggage. One of the two. I'm guessing it's number two. But anyways, Geoff, my man, what's going on?
I'm taking a picture of you with me today.
Oh, well, that's nice. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, we just need a little clarification on that. So yes, you are coming to Italy,
Right on.
but in a picture format.
All right. If I pop out of your luggage, man, don't be surprised. I am skinny.
If you can fit in my luggage and actually survive it and get through everything, you deserve to be there.
Dude, I'm svelte. I'm svelte. You know I'll fit.
You know how cold it gets into that carriage container in a plane when they're going like a billion miles per hour at that altitude? You'll freeze.
I'll bring a blanket.
Okay.
So, buddy, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good. You know what? The weather's changing on us a little bit, and we're coming into the last days of summer. But let's go out. Let's go out with the firestorm.
Well, you know what? Yeah, it's actually, I think the weekend, it was supposed to rain tomorrow, but then I saw that it's supposed to be like cloudy with sun, and then it's supposed to heat up for like the next 4 or 5 days. I guess, yeah, I guess, because that's what I was joking about with the kids is, they're going back to school next week. I'm still not supposed to say the S word. But I was saying, like, right as you guys go back to school, that's when the weather changes. So my ability to go party and enjoy the sun in peace while you guys are back in school has gone away. And now they're going out to go buy school clothes with the wife today. So I'll definitely be broke and have to go help people purchase other homes now in order to be able to feed these kids again.
I remember when I was going to school, my mom would give me and my sister $100 for back to school shopping. That was and wow, we stretched. Actually, I didn't stretch that $100 out. I think I bought a shirt for 75, but my sister sure stretched that 100 out really good. But yeah, $100. But I think now it's probably $1,000.
Well, I was gonna say, man, I remember back in the day when going back to school, get like I would get $200. But the thing is, I remember at the time, right? The in fashion was button fly jeans. That tells you how old I am. The pair of button fly jeans cost $80.
Yeah.
Right? So I was like, well, there it goes. I'm like, one pair of pants took away half of my clothing.
Yeah, jeans nowadays, I think an average jean price is like about $130.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's about it. That's about it. Unless you go to Winners, and then you can get them for $55, $65. And it's the same fashion. You're just looking like a rich guy from 3 years ago.
It's too much work. Winners, I love Winners for the home sense and the home decor stuff.
Yeah.
But going through that looking for clothes, that's just too much for me. I can't do it.
It is a terrifying sight because all you see is like jam-filled racks and then clothes hanging up all over top of them and stuff like that. You see people flinging stuff everywhere. It looks like, you know what it looks like? It looks like people looting during the LA riots.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
People score big though. Like they score big. So if you got
good on them,
go for it.
Yeah, right. Good on them. It takes all kinds of people. Good on them. Well, man. Let's kick it. Let's get it started. We got some good information today. And as always, we're starting with podcast's hottest segment. And that is...
Did you know?
No.
That is right. Did you know? So, Geoff, did you know one of the best places in all of Canada for quality of life is, drum roll please, Chilliwack?
Really?
Yeah. According to a recent report, Chilliwack, the same place you used to drive through just to get to Hope has been named as one of the top places in Canada for quality of life.
And they used to make fun of it too, that it stunk.
Yeah, well, that's where I was. Yeah, that's part of my spiel today. So one of the things that is driving that, well, not just the cost and everything, is take District 1881, which I love. So this is Geoff's stomping ground. I lived there for a few years, just as District 1881 was being transformed. Right? It's been transformed now into a lively, walkable hub with brick facades, patios, breweries, cafes, and live music. It is now a destination rather than a pass-through. And then
sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
We have been in Abbotsford, but Abbotsford made it too difficult for the developer to do, so they shifted it to Chilliwack. That again made it much more easier for them to work in.
I did not know that.
Yes.
That's crazy, Abby, because listen, man, I mean, Chile, like that downtown, the work that they've done, and I when I put clients over there, I tell them all about what it looks like, what it used to look like, and then when I show it to when we'd go visit, they're like, "Holy cow, this is amazing!" It is an unreal place to be there. They've done such a good job, right? And then there's the outdoors. Within minutes, you can be hiking Lindeman Lake, paddling at Cultus, fishing on the Vedder River, or berry picking in the summer. And when Geoff is gone away to Italy, since he's not taking me people, we can head over to his place for a barbecue. You add in the
hot tub.
There you go, and the hot tub. So and we add in the flower festivals, mountain views, and trails at your doorstep. It is legitimately now a lifestyle you cannot replicate in Metro Vancouver, of course, or even the Fraser Valley.
Yeah.
Right? So here's the kicker, though. It's affordable compared to the city. Families are realizing they can actually have it all, a home with space, a backyard, and a slower pace of life without being cut off from Vancouver. So here's the takeaway, everybody. A home isn't just about square footage. It's about the rhythm of your life, the community you're in, and whether you're actually where you live. Chilliwack is proving you can find balance, connection, and quality of life in places people used to overlook. Geoff, you live in Chilliwack, am I right?
I actually live in Lindell Beach.
Lindell Beach, I know, I just mentioned.
15 minutes from Chilliwack.
From Chilliwack.
But yeah, you know what? I lived in Abbotsford for well over 20 years. When I left Abbotsford, I did not want to leave Abbotsford. I loved Abbotsford. I moved out here to Cultus Lake, and you know what? I love Cultus Lake. I do not want to move from Cultus Lake. But this is also what I've learned. I've learned is that you can make anywhere a great home if you have the right people in it, and where your attitude and your mindset is. Like if you're moving to some place and you have the right mindset, you're going to find the right friends, you're going to find the right community, you're going to make it what the effort that you put into it. So
well, that's just it. And that's, I say it's one of the things I say to my clients all the time is like, I can find you a great house anywhere, right? Anywhere I can find you a great house. The difference is do you really want to live there? Because it's the community that actually makes the home what it is. And it goes back to the old saying, a house is just four walls. A home is a community where it sits. And it is absolutely true, right? Like, some people love Wally, right? Yeah. Some people, but more people don't. But I can find you great houses in Wally, and there's great communities. There's great pockets of communities in Wally. It's not to say anything negative about Wally as an area, because they are doing a job transforming themselves, right? But I can take you over to Chilliwack, where I remember when I started as a realtor, and I remember the first time I had a showing out in Chilliwack, and every realtor in the office was like, "Why aren't you just referring that out? Why are you driving all the way to Chilliwack? Who goes out there?" Right? And then I remember just as COVID started to hit, all of my business, of course, was already out there, right? And I was driving out to Chilliwack all the time. And then those same realtors that were saying to me before, Why would you drive out to Chilliwack? They're all driving out to Chilliwack and taking listings out there, not referring any of it out,
Yep. Yep.
right?
Well,
So
I believe Chilliwack, was talking to my son yesterday, and I think the pricing in Chilliwack is actually starting to be on the incline.
it
Uh,
is,
and
yes.
someone told me, or actually he told me, that pricing in Chilliwack is actually more expensive now than in Abbotsford. So I don't know if that's true or not, or it's comparable. But again, Chilliwack has a lot to offer. It's got great community. It's got great outdoor activity. It's got the lakes.
Yeah.
It's got lots of great food within it.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, it's definitely worth a visit if you haven't visited, and definitely worth a consideration if you want a little bit slower pace.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you're going to Hope, if you're traveling to Hope, no longer do you have to just stop in Chilliwack to get gas and move on. Head out to District 1881, the Five Corners. See why they call it the Five Corners, right? Spend a little bit of time, grab something to eat. It's amazing. Some
Yeah.
great food right along that strip, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, man. Well, that is the Did You Know, right? So what do you got for us, Jeff?
Well, I wanted to talk about first-time home investors and buying your first rental property, maybe buying your second. And I just wanted to kind of say, hey, like, what do you need to look for when you are looking for investment property? Now, everybody at one point wanted to buy a home.
Yeah.
Now, the next part of that kind of journey is once you buy a home, they want to buy an investment property. They want to buy their first rental property. Um, Not so long ago, this was one of the better things to do to invest your money in because of the appreciation that it brought back to you. In today's environment, it's a little bit different of a story, but it's always very important to why you want to buy a rental property. Like, is it for monthly cash flow? Is it for future equity value? Is it for diversification? You want to balance out your portfolio. Is it all of the three? Is it two of the three? Is it one of the three? But what is it?
I'm glad we're doing this because it's funny that you told me about that we were going to do this topic today because yesterday I was reading an article about how rental investments have been a TikTok dream, right? And people saying that having a rental is ridiculous now. It's just a dream sold by people on TikTok, right? And so I of course disagreed with that post. I didn't feel the need to tell them I disagree, but I told my family that no, it's not true. So I'm glad that we're doing this.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think investing in rental property is still a very good investment, depending on where you're doing it.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important to make sure, as part of your power team, that you have someone within that power team that actually is a mentor, somebody that has multiple rental properties, someone that has gone through the roller coaster rides of the up and down. And then when you talk to those people that have rental properties or have had multiple rentals at some point, the whole goal about having a rental property is either monthly cash flow or future equity position, one, if not both of them. In
Yeah.
today's market, I find that a lot of investment properties, and again, let's understand that most people purchase investment properties through pre-sales.
Yeah.
And I find now, as these pre-sales are completing to when they bought them for, you really aren't having that monthly cash flow, and you're really relying on the future equity position as far as what they're going to bring.
That is definitely the piece that has changed the most, especially since COVID, where they had dropped the rates. I remember helping one of my clients during buy an investment property during COVID, and when the rates had dropped so low, their total all in for insurance, strata fees, and their mortgage was $1,200.
Yeah.
But the rent they were charging at that time, I believe, was 1,800 was what rent was going for at that time. So they were positive cash flow $600. Now it's a little bit different. Now when I have these talks, it's more on the equity growth side.
Yeah. Well, just even to share a story, my son and I purchased a pre-sale
Right.
back in 2022 and just completed here in 2025. We purchased it for, say, let's say it's 600.
Hmm.
And the monthly cash flow in there is none. In fact, you're losing $700 a month in there. And when you calculate that on an annual basis, like you're losing almost, 8,400 bucks a year. And over a course of 5 years, that's about 42,000, right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
again, if you take a look on appreciation of that property, and again, this is where I go back to future equity growth. If that appreciates even 4% a year, that's 24 grand a year.
Yeah.
Over the next course of 5 years, it's increased in value by 120. So now that condo went from 600 to 720,000, right? And again, just to keep it really simple, now you made 120 grand in the future equity growth of it.
Yeah.
Yes, you still lost 42,000 in the monthly cash flow of it, but again, overall net return is about 78 grand, right?
It's funny. I just literally had that same discussion on Saturday with clients that I just helped purchase a pre-sale at the Atlan that's being built right in here near me
Right.
here in Clayton, which is going to be an amazing building. And we were discussing like this is one of the areas, again, appreciation really counts because of everything that's going on in Clayton and Cloverdale with the new hospital. Yeah.
And here's the thing too, is like keep in mind there's tax implications on
Sure.
surplus, and there's capital gains. But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, when in today's environment, especially for those who have purchased pre-sales as investment properties, a lot of things have come down, which really put a monkey wrench into things. Short-term rental,
Yeah.
regulations that came in, that basically was a huge speed bump for these investors, right?
Yeah.
Decrease in property value, a huge speed bump for investors. And if you were able to complete the negative cash flow, a huge speed bump for
Huge.
investors.
Yeah.
And again, the thing is that the only kind of saving grace is what that future equity growth is going to be. Back in the day, say we purchased this in 2022 when we were living back in 2019 thinking, hey, if I bought a pre-sale then for
Yeah.
600, it completed in 2022, that pre-sale now was already worth 800,
I was in 800. Yeah.
whatever that value was. I
Yeah.
already had an automatic lift,
Yeah.
right? Now we're running into those ultra low rates at the time,
Yeah.
right? Having a great positive cash flow.
Cash flow.
Again, hindsight being 2020, you didn't have that equity growth. In fact, you actually had the negative impact
Yeah.
as far as what's going on, where you had the monthly cash flow, but the long-term equity growth, as far as what you bought it for to where it was, there's a huge growth there. But if you
Yeah.
maintained it, you might have lost a little bit of your gains. So the whole idea about purchasing rental properties is a much different game than it was, 5, 10 years ago, right? And how you're
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
it moving forward, really, again, depending on what you're buying, really, again, is for future equity growth, right? Versus
Yeah.
monthly cash flow. Now, that also being said, and this more is on your side of things, Alistair, you're looking at a lot of pre-sales. Say, let's talk about Wally. Let's talk about Surrey. There is
Yeah.
a lot of inventory, and these developers are giving big haircuts on these properties that are now completed. They're no longer pre-sales. They're just vacant.
Yeah.
They're just trying to get them off their books.
Yeah.
There is still a great opportunity out in the Wally Surrey area where you can get that monthly cash flow and you're going to get that future equity. It's just a matter of now you've always had to look to see where to buy. But
Right.
again, down here in the greater Vancouver area, much, much tougher. But again, still some pockets where you can do it.
Yeah, and that's really the key is now you just have to be way more diligent in researching the areas and make sure again that the person on your power team, i.e. your realtor, knows the areas, right, where the appreciation, the positive appreciation will occur more often than we'll lose.
And something that we don't discuss a lot in our power team is a mentor,
Yeah.
right? And I always said to myself, and I even say this to myself today, if I could put somebody in my life 20 years my elder,
Yeah.
and basically on a monthly or a quarterly basis, just sit down with them and just tell them where you are at with your life, and the struggles that you're going through, and also the gains that you're going through and the wins. But to have that mentor to give you that wisdom is
Yeah.
so invaluable. And again, I always said, hey, if I could talk to my younger self, that's what I would do. But as I'm saying this, I can always do that now. The guy's going to be old,
Yeah.
will almost be 80, but again, finding that mentor in your power team that has that experience with
Yeah.
investment properties, right?
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine, he has had over 120 investment properties in his lifetime. So
Wow.
again, having a mentor like that in your toolbox and just the experience of that, again, that's invaluable.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's invaluable. Yeah, that's amazing.
So some of the things that people need to understand when you're financing investment, guys, and just to break it down really, really quick. Number one, if you are purchasing something that is going to be an investment property, you do need 20% down minimum,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You also need to qualify. I'm pleasantly shocked or surprisingly shocked how we work with some files. People will say, "Hey, I have a house. I want to buy a house. Well, how much do you have down? Well, I only have 5%. Well, you actually need 20%. Oh, really? That's something that people often forget. And then a lot
Yeah.
of times people will automatically assume if they already own a property, they're just going to automatically qualify for another property. And it doesn't work
Right.
that way either, right? You
They
need to
forget about their debt
qualify.
servicing. Yeah.
Yes, you need to qualify. Understand that there's that stress test, right? Remember,
Yeah.
you're qualifying 2% higher than the contract rate.
Yeah.
And a lot of conversation we'll have is say, well, you know what, Alistair? You're not qualifying. You're going to need to put this much of a down payment down, which is maybe 35% of the purchase price. Maybe it's 25, maybe it's 50 in order to
50. Yeah.
make the numbers work. And the comment is, well, it's going to be a rental. Doesn't the rental make up enough for me to qualify? Great, great answer to the question, Alistair, but unfortunately, this rental isn't going to increase your purchase power by $150,000, right?
Right.
There are lenders, or all lenders are going to recognize that rental income.
Do they? I was just going to ask you that. Do all renters? Because there's been times where I've heard, when somebody's buying a single family home, right, and they're going to say, we're going to rent out the basement suite,
Yeah,
right, and they're told we don't accept that rental income as your income because it's not actually there yet,
yeah.
right?
You know what? Here's the thing, and this is again the advantages of working with a mortgage broker. There are some lenders out there that will say, well, is that suite authorized or unauthorized? So in simple
Yeah.
terms, is it legal or
Legal
illegal,
or illegal.
right?
Which
And,
I'll tell you, let's just pause for a second. The majority in Surrey are illegal suites.
are illegal suites. So there are some lenders to say, well, if it's illegal, we're not going to recognize the rental income.
Right.
But there are other lenders that will say, if it's illegal, we will recognize that rental income, providing that it has its own entrance, its own bathroom, its own kitchen, its own bedroom, right?
Right.
Every lender out there is going to recognize rental income. If your lender is saying that they're not going to recognize it, it's either because it's illegal,
Right.
or it doesn't have its own entrance, or it doesn't have its own bathroom, or it doesn't have its own kitchen, or it doesn't have its own bedroom, right? It's not
Yeah.
what they call fully self-contained.
Right.
If it is fully self-contained, be it legal or illegal, there is many lenders that will recognize that rental income. So
Yeah.
if the answer to yes, it's fully self-contained, but it's illegal, and I've been told from my lending partner that they're not going to recognize it, well, switch gears and find a different lending partner.
That's what I was going to say. This is the reason why you get second opinions and you don't take your first answer as gospel.
Well, and again, this is a, a little bit of a shameless plug. This is why you need to be working with a mortgage broker versus a bank employee or a mobile
100%.
mortgage specialist.
Yeah.
Because they're, number one, a mobile specialist for a bank is a bank employee, right?
Yeah.
They work for the bank. The only product that they have is that particular bank's products. And that's the only choice that you have. That's the only option you have. It's a one and done. If you are working with a broker, brokers work with over 40 different financial institutions. So if one bank is saying no, another bank might say yes. If all banks say no, maybe the credit unions are going to say yes. If one credit union says no, maybe another credit union is going to say yes. But maybe the banks and the credit unions are all going to say no. So now we're going to go to the monoline lenders, right?
Right.
Or
Yeah.
whatever order that's going to fall into.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, working with a mortgage broker will give you, the borrower, choices. So if
Yeah.
one says no, the other one may or may not say yes.
Yeah. And so for all the people out there that work in the banks and the bank lenders that listen to us, when I say this, I'm not meaning to disparage banks, but it actually drives me crazy when I hear people that say they use a bank as opposed to a broker for getting their mortgage, and them saying, well, I keep my money at my bank, so I might as well keep my mortgage there. Well, man, dude, like, why would you go to some place that's only going to give you one option? It doesn't, to me, that just doesn't compute in my head. If I know I can get more options, like Baskin Robbins 31 flavors, right? I have more choices, right? That's really what I want, because the more choices I have, the better chance that I'm going to get something better.
Yeah,
right.
I find a lot of times it's on education, right? Like
Yeah.
they're led to believe that if they work with a broker, they got to pay the broker, right?
Right.
And I've actually had some banks say that to their clients, that if you work with a broker, you got to pay them, which is absolutely false. If we're working with conventional lenders, right?
Right.
And I just find that people get comfortable. So
Yes, that's a big one. Yeah.
if I have a relationship with my bank, I
Yeah.
just automatically think my bank is going to be my best option, because I've been there for 20 years.
Yeah.
Parents have been there for 20 years. My grandparents been there. They're going to take care of me. And again, a little bit of a side topic. We were working with a client that works. Again, that same story. I've been banking with this credit union. My family's been banking with this credit union. My grandfather actually served on the board of this credit union, and they're just going to take care of me. And I was like, okay, well, what rate is this credit union giving you? Well,
Yeah.
the rate is X. And I'm like, just so you know, I can get you a better rate with your credit union than what your credit union has offered you and put on your plate, right?
See? Yeah.
And the reality of this particular client was, she was just so ingrained that this particular credit union had her best interest in hand, where in fact they did not.
No, they
And,
have theirs. They have to make money. So,
and here's the kicker. Even after saying, hey, we can put you with this credit union. We can actually get you a better rate than what they've given you. They She was so inadamant about staying with that credit union
see?
that she was like, no, I just want to stay here. And the lady that's helping me is off for 2 weeks. So, I got to wait until she gets back. But you know what? Because I have such a great relationship here, I'm just going to, stay the course. And I'm like, okay, but you do realize that we can get you a better rate with your credit union than what your credit union is giving you.
You
Yeah,
would still be with your
yeah,
bank.
but I still want to work with the person that I'm working with. And I'm like, you know what? Okay.
So she wants to work with a liar. Okay, no problem.
Well,
I shouldn't say a liar. No, my apologies to that person. I shouldn't say a liar. Again, like I said, banks have their best interest at heart. They need to make money, right? But in all reality, they're not being truthful. They're not being honest. They're saying, here, this is the best rate we can give you, when somebody else is saying, I can get you a better rate with your same bank. How does that work?
Exactly. So to kind of reel this back in about financing and rentals, Understand too that lenders, guys, will use that rental income
Yeah.
to increase your purchase power. And there's
Yeah.
three kind of ways that lenders look at it. There is what they call add backs, there's what they call offsets, and there's what they call DCR calculators. And each one will increase or decrease the purchase power depending on which lender uses which to recognize rental income. Now, again, good is an add back, better is an offset, and basically best is when the lenders use the DCR calculators, right? So which
Yeah.
is a debt servicing calculator.
Yeah.
But all lenders again are not the same. So we have used in certain files where a lender is not recognizing the rental income as aggressively as another one, and we can turn that no with that mortgage for this investment property into a yes just by how a lender will recognize the rental income. Now, that also being said, folks, that's not going to increase your purchase power by $100,000. But again, if you are on that cusp, it may turn that no into a yes.
Awesome.
And again, people will then say, well, where? Do your homework,
Yeah.
right? Take courses. There's many investment courses that are out there. Keyspire, right? Get involved with RAIN. There's tons of education that's out there that will train and educate you on the places to look for investment. Right now, the Fraser Valley seems to be a hot spot. Like that
You
certainly
betcha.
seems to be a hot spot. There's places within the interior that seem to be a hot spot, but there's
Yeah.
also many places outside of British Columbia that could be a hot spot. And if you have the ability
Yeah.
and you have the knowledge to what to look for, again, maybe your first rental property is not going to be in British Columbia. Maybe it's going to be in Alberta. Maybe it's going to be in Manitoba, right?
I was
Maybe,
just gonna say, so just I was talking to a friend of mine. He owns a few brokerages in Manitoba, and the Manitoba market is smoking hot right now in terms of single family homes out there. They're going to for 60 to $100,000 above list price, and that why is a lot of our investors that have released their condos right into the market have now moved on to purchasing properties out there, out in Manitoba for investment. And the reason being is that a $500,000 house in Manitoba, right, is or a $500,000 condo here will get you a $500,000 home in Manitoba where you can charge more rent for. So your cash flow becomes a whole lot better. Your equity growth, and that's the one thing that I will always say to people, just because I am from Manitoba, so I know, your equity growth will not be on the same level as it will be in British Columbia, right? It does not grow nearly the same, but your cash flow will always be better.
yeah.
So really, the term, well, not always, but more often than not. I don't like speaking in absolutes, but more often than not, your cash flow will be better. So, it depending on what you're looking for, and again, getting into the rental market, sometimes if you can, right, pay a property manager to handle your property and look outside of these borders,
Yeah.
into something else.
Well, and going to doing the math about how do you calculate your monthly cash flow,
Super important, people.
and super easy. You
Yeah.
take your rent, you
Yeah.
minus what your mortgage payment's going to be, what your property tax is going to be, what your insurance is going to be, minus your strata fees if they're applicable,
Yeah.
minus maintenance and repairs, minus your vacancy allowance, and minus your property management will equal your monthly cash flow.
Yeah.
Ideally, again, you want that cash flow to be positive, depending on when you did your investment or the year you did your investment. You obviously want a positive cash flow, but if there's not a positive monthly cash flow, you want to make sure that there's future equity position.
Equity growth. Yeah.
And if there's not a positive cash flow and not a future equity position in it, probably not a great investment for you. Right?
Exactly. And we were just talking, sorry, Jeff, just to quickly say, we were talking about great institutions to learn from. Enriched Academy is another great institution to learn from. They are amazing.
That's a Dominion lending byproduct.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So again, final thoughts and your call to action. If you guys are looking for investment property, being at your first, being at your second, being at your fifth, make sure that you have the success or the ingredients for success. And we've talked about it before. That's your power team. Make sure you
Yeah.
have a great broker. Make sure you have a great realtor. Make sure you have a great accountant because there's a lot of tax benefits when you buy your investment properties and what you can write off on. Make
Yep.
sure you have a fantastic property manager. In my heyday, I had over 9 investment properties. To be quite honest, I never actually even stepped foot in any of them. I never even saw any of them physically because I had a great property
Yeah.
manager. And the other thing is, make sure you have a great mentor that has experience in rental properties and joint venture agreements and all that fun stuff. Because again, once you have all these ingredients in place, you will buy your rental property in confidence. And typically, you're going to be successful in it if you do the homework.
100%. That's amazing because it's true. Like only being able to own a rental property really does alleviate a lot of stress on yourself financially or your future wealth. You're growing your future wealth. So we've talked about it before. If you own a condo at the age of 35 and you have a job, you're worth 440K,
Yeah.
right? So if you can add a second one on there, right? Just think about how much you've grown your future net worth. Right. And listen, guys, even if like as Geoff said, if you're losing money, if you're in terms of your cash flow, right? If you're negative $700, but you know that equity growth is going to be there in the future, it's not a bad investment. But if you're looking at an investment and somebody tells you at the end of the day you're going to make $5, but it's a great investment as long as there's future equity growth within it, right? If that equity growth is there and you're only making $5 every month or whatever cash flow on it, don't be looking to get rich immediately. That's what I always try to explain to people when they're looking at investment property. Don't look at it as an immediate get rich. I think that's the part where that pipe dream, that TikTok pipe dream that I was joking about, right? That's the stuff that was happening back in like 2018, 2019, and then heading into COVID, right? Where people were making money hand over fist in their investments, and even before that, right? It's not that way, so to speak, anymore. But if you do it right, you will. Like if you do it right, you will come out amazing. Yeah.
I think one of the most important things is make sure you surround yourself with wisdom.
Yeah.
Make sure you surround yourself by doing education.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great platforms out there where you can learn where to buy, what to look for in the cities that you're buying in,
Yeah.
and go in confident. If you go in confident by doing those two things, you're going to be successful, right?
And 100%. 100%. Amazing, my man. Well, that's awesome. That's episode 69. I think we done good again.
Yeah.
I think we've done good again. Well, everybody, as always, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to us. Thank you so much. Continue to love us, like us, share us, tell everybody you know about us. Because again, Geoff and I are doubling down this year and making sure you guys get the best content possible, making sure you guys get the best education you can. Because if you're not using us and you're using somebody else, that hurts. We want to make sure that at least you're going in with your eyes wide open and making sure that if they tell you something, you're able to say, wait, we heard from somebody else, something else. That's not jiving with me. We want to make sure you're getting the best education possibly can. And that's not to say that our opinions are always right. We're saying that it's 99.9% of the time. Yeah, we're probably going to be right on what we say. But we just want to make sure that you've got that second opinion that you always need, and you're not, like I said before, that you're not taking the first thing you hear as gospel. So with that being said, we cannot wait to have you back next week for episode number 70. In the meantime, most importantly, stay empowered, stay informed, and Geoff, my man,
Stay tuned.
that's right, baby. Stay tuned. Peace out.